Apples are one of the most popular fruits on Earth. You can find them in grocery stores, fruit markets, desserts, juices, and even traditional dishes all around the world. But despite how common apples are, most people only recognize a handful of varieties. In reality, there are thousands of different types of apples, each with its own flavor, texture, color, and history. Some apples are incredibly sweet, others are sharply tart, and a few even have unusual colors hidden inside their flesh. Some varieties were carefully developed by scientists, while others were discovered completely by accident in orchards, farms, or even compost piles. Today, we're going to explore several fascinating apple varieties and learn what makes each of them unique. Honeycrisp Apple. The Honeycrisp apple is famous for its extremely crisp texture and juicy bite. When you bite into a Honeycrisp, it produces a loud crunch and releases a burst of sweet juice. This apple was developed by researchers at the University of Minnesota during an apple breeding project that began in the 1960s. Interestingly, the Honeycrisp almost disappeared before anyone realized how special it was. Early breeding records were lost, and the seedling tree nearly got thrown away. Luckily, it survived in a test orchard where researchers eventually discovered its amazing flavor. What makes Honeycrisp apples so crunchy is their unusual cell structure. The cells inside the fruit are larger than those of most apples. Instead of compressing when you bite into them, the cells burst, releasing a lot of juice and creating that famous crisp texture. The flavor is mostly sweet with a light balance of tartness. Because of its popularity and the difficulty of growing it, Honeycrisp apples became some of the most expensive apples sold in supermarkets. Even today, they're considered a premium apple in many parts of the world. Granny Smith. The Granny Smith apple is one of the most recognizable apple varieties ever grown. Unlike many modern apples that were intentionally bred, this one was discovered completely by accident in Australia during the 1860s. An elderly woman named Maria Ann Smith found a young apple tree growing in a pile of compost on her property. The apple quickly became popular because of its bright green color and distinctive sour taste. Granny Smith apples are firm, juicy, and extremely tart. Their acidity is so strong that many people describe the flavor as almost citrus-like. Because of their firm texture, they hold their shape well when heated. This makes them perfect for baking and cooking. Granny Smith apples are commonly used in pies, apple crisps, and other desserts where a tart flavor balances sweetness. They also brown more slowly than many other apples after being cut, which is why they're often used in fruit salads and platters. Pink Pearl. The pink pearl apple is one of the most visually surprising apples you can find. From the outside, it looks fairly normal, but when you cut it open, the inside reveals a beautiful pink or reddish flesh. This unique apple was developed in California during the 1940s by apple breeder Albert Eder. Eder spent much of his life experimenting with unusual apple varieties and creating apples with interesting colors and flavors. The pink color inside the pink pearl apple comes from natural pigments called anthocyanins. These are the same antioxidant compounds found in berries such as blueberries and raspberries. In most apples, these pigments only appear in the skin, but in a few rare varieties like pink pearl, the pigments also develop inside the flesh. The flavor of a pink pearl apple is usually tart and refreshing, with fruity notes that some people compare to grapefruit or raspberries. Fuji Apple. The Fuji Apple is one of the sweetest apples grown anywhere in the world. It was developed in Japan during the 1930s by crossing two American apple varieties, Red Delicious and Rawls Janet. The apple was officially released in the 1960s and quickly became extremely popular. Fuji apples are known for their high sugar content and long storage life. They are crisp, juicy, and very sweet with only mild acidity. In Japan, farmers sometimes protect growing apples by placing paper bags over them while they are still on the tree. This protects the fruit from insects and sunlight and helps produce a more even color. Another interesting feature of Fuji apples is something called water core. Sometimes parts of the apple become slightly translucent because they fill with sugar-rich liquid. While some growers consider this a flaw, many people think it makes the apple taste even sweeter. When stored properly in cold conditions, Fuji apples can stay crisp for several months, which is longer than many other apple varieties. Red Delicious. The Red Delicious apple is probably the most recognizable apple variety ever grown. It was first discovered in the late 1800s in the United States on a farm owned by Jesse Hyatt in the state of Iowa. Over time, apple growers bred this variety to make its deep red color stronger and its distinctive five-pointed shape more noticeable. The goal was to create an apple that would stand out in grocery stores and attract customers. While the apple became extremely famous for its appearance, many modern Red Delicious apples lost some of the rich flavor of the original variety. Today, they are often known more for their glossy red skin and iconic shape than for their taste. However, when grown carefully and picked at the right time, Red Delicious apples can still be crisp, refreshing, and mildly sweet. Gala Apple. The Gala Apple is another extremely popular variety that can be found in supermarkets around the world. It was developed in New Zealand during the 1930s by apple breeder J.H. Kidd. Kidd created the Gala apple by crossing Golden Delicious with another apple variety called Kidd's Orange Red. The result was a sweet, aromatic apple with a pleasant balance of flavor. Gala apples are usually medium-sized, with a yellow background color covered in orange and red stripes. Their flesh is crisp, juicy, and naturally sweet with relatively low acidity. Because of this mild and sweet flavor, Gala apples are especially popular with children. Today, Gala apples are among the most widely grown apples in the world. These are just a few examples of the incredible diversity found in apples. From extremely sweet apples to sharply tart varieties, each type has its own story, history, and unique flavor. And with thousands of apple varieties grown around the world, there are always new flavors and textures waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed learning about different apple varieties, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos where we explore and explain foods from around the world. And if there's another food you'd like to see explained next, let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.